Hi, I'm Jade here. I'm in the jungle, La Selva here, enjoying the iguanas, the mosquitoes, and all the little bugs. And I'm here with the amazing DMike, who is from Gasm TV with me. And what we want to talk about today is we want to talk about the topic of male vulnerability. And especially as a woman, I want to address the way that we as women are like demonizing men, for example, using terms like toxic masculinity to kind of making out that men are sort of like all sort of like violators and sort of abusers of us basically. And I want to talk a little bit about sort of like what men's experiences might be, and basically the importance of us as women allowing men spaces in order to be vulnerable basically. So I was talking to DMike yesterday and he mentioned something to me. I don't know if you're okay with sharing that experience.
Sure, yeah. I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was talking to you about was just kind of an example of some of the troubles that men go through, and especially black men, I would
Yeah.
say. And it had to do with the experience of whenever I was taking the train to moving to Compton. And I'm from the Midwest, so I've got a certain style about me. And so there was a couple of girls and a guy that were there, and we kind of came together, and we were kind of
Mhm.
talking. And I was just kind of talking how I normally talk, and they just brought up to me, they're like, "Oh, do you know where you're moving to? You're moving to Compton." And I'm like, "Okay, that didn't really mean a lot to me." And I'm like, "So what do you mean? What are you talking about?" And they said, "Oh, you can't act like that. You can't act like how you act in the Midwest. You got to act hard, you know."
Mm.
And it's like, so, and I really took that to heart though. I was like, "Oh, here I'm moving to this new environment, and Compton's got a reputation, so maybe they're right. Maybe I do have to act this way." And I
Mm.
did have to. I felt like I had to change my style. I felt like I had to act in a certain way in order to get respect and to get love.
Yeah. And I guess that was a traumatic experience for you.
I would say it was very traumatic because it kind of informed every action that I took. Because behind it was, I was thinking, am I doing this right? Am I able to emote in this particular way? I thought, oh, I better try and tone up the gangster or the hardness, and I had to
Yeah.
act in a very inauthentic way.
And this is something that happens to so many people in life, is that we're told, the way you are, who you are, it's not good enough. You need to fit into this hole, whether it be, become a businessman, become a gangster, become, a pretty woman, an obedient woman, or a man that's sort of being hard, and how did you in the end sort of come to basically heal from this experience?
Yes, well, I think that what it does is it stifles authenticity. And if you ask what I did to sort of combat that, is over the last 3 or 4 years, mainly, particularly in the last couple of years, I've been on a mission to define the masks that I've been trained to wear. And so every way that I act, I've been really just kind of laser focusing in and seeing, is this really me? And I've been able to identify all the times whenever I've been acting inauthentic. And I
Mm.
think that's really helped me.
Yeah, yeah, and I've heard sort of things like this from other men, and also from, black men, about, for example, talking about things like, I'm doing things black guys aren't supposed to do, as
Right.
if there's some kind of idea that if you're a white person or a black person or a man or a woman or from so and so or wherever, you're supposed to be a certain way. Yet, obviously, our personality is not going to be defined by these kind of physical features. And then if we're going to look specifically at the issue of, for example, women telling guys man up, kind of putting pressure on guys to behave in certain ways, how do you think women can change to try to even start to understand this, to maybe stop viewing themselves as victims and actually, become more sort of like, proactive in actually shaping the kind of society that they want to be living in?
Yeah, I mean, I really just think that it starts with grace, and it's the way that you perceive males and male energy. If we, because that's this kind of pressure, it comes from males, but it also comes from females as well. I've talked to a lot of females that are saying, if a guy cries, I'm going to be turned off. Even if a guy like trips and falls or something like that, it's like, whoa. So I just think that all of us need to kind of take a look at where we're placing value and what kind of
Mm.
actions that we're placing value on, because we think, I mean, the only example that a lot of us have is like rap videos and hip hop videos, things like that, where everybody's
Mm.
kind of acting a certain way, And I think whenever we take a look at it and we realize what we truly value, then we'll start to see that what we actually find attractive is authenticity.
Absolutely. And I suppose if you fall in love with some idea of someone pretending to be something they're not, eventually that's going to, fall to pieces. And the same, even if we build ourselves to be someone that isn't authentic to us, eventually that is going to fall down and perhaps even sort of results in sort of mental illness, mental breakdown, and so on.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's the thing, is that I can be me better than I can be anything that I'm not. And if you do value, if you think that you value somebody being fake, being inauthentic,
Mm,
then yeah, like you said, eventually it's going to come out. Their
mm,
authentic nature is going to come out in some ways, and
mm.
you're going to start to see that if you encourage that authenticity, then that's really whenever the true value and the true attraction really comes out.
Yeah, and I suppose when we look at this inauthenticity, it starts from our parents saying, "Well, I want you to do this, I want you to be like this." Then it's in school, we're being given these messages. As children, we often haven't really got a developed sense of who we are, and we're quite really afraid because we haven't really developed. And I guess it does actually take a lot of confidence just to kind of be able to be you and just be able to be like, "Hey, this is a weird, quirky thing about me, and you know what? I love it because it's me."
Well, that's the thing. Yes, and it does start from an early age. And I think that whenever all it takes is the few seconds of courage, because we
Mm,
think that it's going to be, I mean, we start to get a lot of crap from our friends whenever we start to
mm,
act authentic. But what
mm.
we start to see, and what I've seen just so many times, is that once you have those few moments of authentic, then
Mm,
you start to continue that, and what you start to see is you start becoming more attractive that way, and people start respecting that authentic part of you, and you start to understand that not only that, but it's so much easier to be authentic because you don't have to remember how to be something else. All you have to do is act how you are in the moment, and it starts to flow, and then
yeah.
people are attracted to that. People are
Yeah,
way more attracted
absolutely.
to your authentic nature.
And in my experience as well, because when I remember when I used to be this kind of fake person that I was, trying to please people all the time, and when I actually started being authentic and coming into myself, it's actually like a real buzz just to like
Mm.
be you, it feels
Oh,
amazing.
Oh, for sure. It's like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely a buzz. That's a
Mm,
great word, because
yeah.
you don't even know that you're allowed to do this. And then whenever you do and you just start acting free, then it just, everything, just like all of this heaviness that's been kind of placed on you. Every time you act inauthentic, it's like another brick is being placed on you, and you're carrying this
Mm,
weight of the world. And as soon as you realize that you don't have to
yeah.
hold that pile of bricks anymore, it frees you up to do
Yeah.
anything that you want to do.
And I suppose when we're originally being inauthentic, we don't even realize what we're doing, and then when we kind of start interacting with life a bit more consciously. And once we realize, it's almost like if you've eaten McDonald's all your life and then you have like an organic meal, you'll just be like, whoa, what was I doing eating that junk, all my life?
Exactly.
And
Yeah, you
yeah.
find these ways to get love. You find these ways to
Mm,
get respect, and you realize that that's not you being you. So then you also realize that you're also attracting a different kind of love. You're attracting
mm,
love that you don't really want. And whenever you're
yeah.
authentic, then you start actually attracting the people, places, things in your life that actually make you happy.
And I guess people that are going to stick with you.
Yes, yes, that's the whole thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
fake love is temporary.
Yeah.
Real love is where it's
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, DMike, for being
Absolutely.
vulnerable with me and opening your heart. And hopefully, we can do some more of these because this has been really interesting. And
It's
I'm
my
sure that
pleasure.
viewers are going to really, get a lot out of this.
I think
So,
so. I hope so.
yeah.
Thanks a lot for having me.
All right. You have a great
All right.
day.
Thanks. You too, Jay.
Okay. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.